Hello, everybody, and welcome to Electric City Sentai Denzicaster here on Geek Carolina. I'm your host, Mike, and this week I'm joined by the Chopsaki Gang.
Woohoo! I'm Josh, also known as Joe Gibkins' homeboy, and currently your Topaz champion.
How long are you going to do that?
What? For the next year at least. Because in the game, I'm the Topaz champion for the next year.
What? Okay, never mind.
Watch the Empyrean Throne, you and William, so y'all can figure out what the hell he's talking about.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm just leaving it alone.
Today we are kicking off a new series here on Geek Carolina. Please, we have not forgotten about Live Man, and we have not forgotten about Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. In fact, as of when we're recording this next week, we're going to be doing some of that. But today we are checking out Chojin Sentai Jetman.
You mean Chojin Sentai Gentleman, Mike?
No, I mean Chojin Sentai Jetman.
Oh, okay, my mistake. Okay.
It's a gag in the show, folks. So, this is as of the time we're recording this, the newest Shout Factory release. This is the first time that they have ever released a Super Sentai that did not become Power Rangers into the United States. We've gotten a few tokusatsu shows here in the U.S. before. From Japan, we've gotten Kamen Rider V3. We've gotten a bunch of Garo stuff at this point. We've gotten, prior to this, 9 installments of the Super Sentai series. And plenty of Ultraman. But this is the first Super Sentai that never hit U.S. shores in any way, shape, form, or fashion before now. The synopsis on the back of the box... the Skyforce sends 5 highly trained operatives to participate in an experiment which will expose them to birdonic waves resulting in superhuman abilities. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't read far enough. But when the Earth ship is attacked by the Vyram, the majority of the birdonic waves are sent to Earth and find 4 unsuspecting civilians. Now it is up to these 4 accidental superhumans, Raita, Kaori, Eiko, and Guy, alongside Ryu, the only original operative to receive birdonic waves, to defend their dimension against the Vyram. This series, 1991, is a total of 51 episodes across 8 discs if you get the Shout Factory release, and we encourage you to do so. We checked out episodes 1 and 2. So that is episode 1, Seek the Warriors, and episode 2, The Third Warrior. So I'll set that back here where hopefully it will appear on camera. And I've seen Jetman all the way through before, but neither of you guys have ever seen Jetman.
Nope.
So your first impressions of the 1991 Super Sentai.
Evil Commander came out of the gate like a freaking boss, man. Where he's like, bow down! I am the Supreme Emperor of the Bible. Bow down! We are in control of the beginnings and endings of your life! I'm in your tea!
That would be Mirror and everything else he wanted to be in. Oh, dude, man, that dude's dramatic effect was amazing.
Radagant is our evil commander.
Like, start strong as the evil commander.
It's like, yeah, I'm gonna turn this whole little intro up to 12. Don't you mean 11? Motherfucker, I said 12.
What's my name? Radagant! Damn right it is.
Don't make me ask you again.
So I take it y'all like the bad guys in this.
Oh,
yeah.
I have to say, the beginning of it, I appreciate the dramatic effect of that he lost his girlfriend to a whole breach. I'm like, it don't work that way,
Nope,
but
really doesn't.
or he's like, I can save her. No, dog, she dead.
It's like, no.
Her insides are her outsides, and she's frozen solid.
More or less. So, if you want synopses or anything like that, folks, Google is your friend. There's a Wikipedia for that. But looking at this show, we've started on the bad guys. Radagant, we see, really, he's the only feature bad guy in the first couple episodes. But we also get a couple of monsters, Jet Dimension, and I frankly don't remember what the monster is in the first episode, what it's called. But what do you think of the overall monster designs and the way that stuff looks in this?
For it being that at that point in time, the production value of the show itself, actually not too bad.
Yeah,
Some things could have probably been done better, but
I mean, I actually kind of dug that the second episode monster literally was a jet monster.
Yes.
In Jetman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are talking about a show that is, I guess right now, 27 years old?
Mm-hmm.
So, it was made in 1991.
And I have to say that
Actually, I mean, the effects aren't too bad for 20 some odd years ago.
yeah, it's an almost 30-year-old show at this point.
I mean, the design for the Gump bad guys, not bad.
No, not at all. I do like how they have sort of the light-up helmets and things like that for effect in certain places and things of that nature. Pretty cool.
Still funny.
Man, I mean, machine gun hands pretty cool for like
Yes.
for a Gump soldier.
From my own experience, the Super Sentai shows of like the mid to late 80s had a tendency to be a little darker and to be a little more violent and aggressive. And this show really kind of carries some of that over into it, but it also sort of begins a 1990s era thing of becoming a little more sensitive to family and children viewing and that kind of thing than it used to be. It's always been a kid's show, Super Sentai, but in the past it was always a little bit of everything because it was family viewing, and now it's starting to become more and more kid viewing as you get to the 90s. Yes?
So what about the 2 kids that get killed on the bikes?
Yeah, what about them?
I'm just...
I thought you were about to go there. What about the unorthodox fighting style of Black Condor?
So let's get into our heroes in this series while we're at it. We will start with our Red Ranger, or in this show he is referred to as Red Hawk, and that would be Ryu, the only god actually trained for the job. What do we think of Ryu?
Having the worst first day on the job ever. This guy is beyond stressed out. I mean, where he's like, where the commander's like, you have to find these people, and he's like, but they're civilians, they're not trained, they're gonna die. Like I said, I mean, I like that they establish immediately that he's a capable person.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously, he's literally the OG original Jetman.
Right. What about you, Will?
I don't know. It took me a second for me to grow on him. But I did like the fact that his like actual commander was kind of there to ground him whenever he was getting like way too intense. But other than that, I do actually like him. He's like the self-righteous, like sense of will character to me.
Yeah, he is almost what's a good way to say it? He borderlines being the stereotypical Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he has to, because as you're about to find out, nobody else on this team has any business being there. So the first 2 Jetmen we meet, or gentlemen, if you were to listen to the White Swan, aka Kaori, is basically this rich chick who wants for nothing, needs nothing, has all the money she could ever need.
Because was she the one? She was the one playing the shamisen when you saw Radigan.
Yeah, she was. What do we think of White Swan, Kaori?
I like her. I like her as much as I liked Gyokai Pink, the princess, where it's the woman of privilege that where she actually makes a comment. I want for nothing. My life's so boring. I would love to be a gentleman. I'm like, you do you, baby girl. You want to fight like a gentleman that flies, you fight like a flying gentleman. It's cool.
What about you, Will?
Well, I just some other thing.
Well, then we will start with Will for our yellow owl, and that is Raita, who is a farmer. When we first meet him, he wants no part of this. He's a farmer. Being a Jetman ain't gonna pay the bills and deal with his crops. And then all of a sudden, the Gumps show up and stomp out his entire farm, and he picks up a backhoe and goes to town. So, what do we think of Yellow Owl?
Not really sure where to start on him. He seems like I want to say he seems more like there's no blue no, there is a blue, but like mostly the blues are kind of like the intelligent but yet comic relief kind of guy.
That's one template for blue.
Yep. Well, that's the one that I've seen
that you're familiar with.
that I'm familiar with on that one. But I do like him. He seems like one of those guys that's just like, I really don't want to get involved. This has nothing to do with me. But that all changes once you push somebody.
Yeah.
Once you get that person to that point, it's like we all saw what his reaction was. So
Right.
I mean, I liked it that he very much is like the salt of the earth. Like, he's a common man. Like, but he's like he's one of us. That like
Right.
even more so than the preppy track star or the rich girl. Where I mean, he literally he's just a normal guy trying to live his
Are
life.
you saying he is the Asian dream?
Maybe I don't know.
Sorry.
Which, for the record, Raita actually does fit into a number of Yellow Ranger tropes from the 70s into the 80s, of the Yellow Ranger being a little more comedic, being a little more down to earth, and also, and this is something you frankly do not see in modern Super Sentai virtually at all. They did not do it again until, goodness gracious, I guess realistically, Kiryu Cian in Kyryuger, which is, he's not the most physically fit ranger.
Yeah.
He's actually got a little bit of a gut. He's a bit of a bigger guy.
It can't be comfortable in that suit when he turns into a Jetman.
That's actually another good point to bring up, because that was actually one of the things. Like, he doesn't look like a stereotypical, like, he doesn't look like Red, and he doesn't look like the guy who plays Black Condor.
Right.
And I was just like,
However,
I like
I mean,
that.
if he's a if he's a farmer, he might not be like slim, but
Yeah.
he's sturdy.
Stocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a stocky dude.
So, but that's something you used to see more of, that
Mhm.
you would usually
Mhm.
have one stocky ranger compared to everyone else. And that physical diversity is something they've gone away from a little bit in more modern shows. Raita might actually be my favorite Jetman, all told, because I like the character a lot. Then we encounter in the next episode, which is called The Third Warrior, even though there's already 3 Jetmen. But the next episode, we also wind up meeting Eiko, who is Blue Swallow. She is our Blue Ranger for this show. And a bit of a money-grubbing chick.
I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't dealing with no broke Jetmen.
She is a high school student. What grade, I don't think they mentioned, actually. But she's at present a high school student. And we see her realize her powers when because the first 2, they don't actually realize they have powers until they fight at the end of the first episode. And we only have 3 Jetmen by the time episode 1 ends. She realizes her power when she basically succeeds at a high jump without any technique, actually just jumping over it like you would jump over like a hose pipe or something. Will, what do you think of Eiko?
I'll go Josh Val.
Okay.
But I mean, the thing is that they established that she's a financially motivated ranger.
Yes.
But I like that once that pretty much, even though she's like, oh, no, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's important. I'd love to save the world, but how much do I make? And White Swan immediately cuts her a check, and she faints. It's like, because it's 10 million
yen.
Now, once the financial requirement is thing, then eventually she immediately goes to like the teen rank, which is like, man, it is so cool being a Jetman.
Mm. And of course, at the end of the episode, she actually hands the check back and goes, okay, no, now I realize what we're up against, and this is not a joke. This is something that needs to happen.
Yeah, I liked her since I still wasn't. I do like her sense of valor at the end of the episode, where she finally realizes, yeah, maybe this is a bit bigger than what my actual financial needs are.
Right.
That kind of deal.
This is not something I normally advocate at all on this show. Not that I don't advocate going out and looking for fan fiction or anything like that, but I don't normally pitch it on this show. If you can find it, there's actually a fan fiction called, I think it's called Little Lost Ranger, and it's by someone, if I remember their screen name right, it was Common Ranger, and basically it was a Eiko winds up somehow getting trapped in the world of the Power Rangers.
Oh.
And the Vyram attack, the Power Rangers dimension, I think it takes part during Zeo. And Billy is no longer a Ranger. He's trying to, in the Zeo television show, he's trying to find his place with the team and whatnot. She helps him find his place with the team, and when they return her home, he gets pulled with her.
Okay.
And he winds up, and the whole premise of the story is him traveling the different Sentai worlds to figure out the history of the Rangers. But that's actually the first time I ever saw her character in anything, was actually in that fan fiction. And the guy that wrote it, or girl, I don't know if Kamen Ranger was male or female, did a really good job with it. So that brings us to probably, by and large, everybody's favorite character in this show. That brings us to Black Condor. And just I want to make sure I get his, I believe it's Yuki Guy.
Yep, Yuki Guy.
Yep. But Black Condor, Yuki Guy, if you've seen Gokaiger, he's in it, and Gokaiger actually does this show a massive disservice because it has the biggest spoiler for this show happens in Gokaiger.
Yeah.
Did you watch Gokaiger all the way through, Will?
I don't think I
Did you
finished it.
Okay, did you see the Jetman episodes?
No.
Okay, then I'm actually going to keep my mouth shut on what that spoiler was.
No.
So that it doesn't hit you. I will simply tell you, it changed the entire way I watched the series.
Okay.
But not, oddly, not in a bad way. But Yuki Guy is as far away from anything you would ever imagine a Ranger to be.
Mm-hmm.
Period. He frequents bars, he gambles and cheats. He is a womanizer, he smokes, he's a biker,
That for a Sentai team, he's like, I don't do teams. I'm free, and the only way to be free is to be alone.
Yeah. He is
like,
an absolute loner.
He quite literally admitted the only reason why he helped was just so he could stay alive. And stay alive that day. He freely admitted that at the end of the episode.
So what do you think of Yuki Guy?
I like him.
He's a badass.
Yeah, he's very straightforward. He's just like, it's like, we're gonna finish our fight. It's like, we're gonna save the world first, then we're gonna come back and finish our fight.
And the first thing he does after the world is saved is he knocks the shit out of the Red Ranger.
Can't seem to light a cigarette. Next thing you know, walks over, goes like, here, big smile on his face, and right hook.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, the unorthodox fighting style of Black Condor, where he basically punches one of the goons in the nuts and then headbutts.
No,
He did not punch.
Handful and squeeze.
And then followed up with a Glasgow kiss.
Yes. The thing that keeps coming back to my mind every time I see Yuki Guy, you do not get it in Gokaiger, because Gokaiger is him after the live man television series has ended.
Okay.
So this is him before he's been a hero or had any good influences in life. Watching this show, in the back of my head, something that kept just clicking in my head over and over was, and this is what it would look like if John Woo wrote a Power Ranger show. This would have been a character he put in the show.
Yeah.
So
no, because me and William made, when he's sitting there in the jazz bar playing his saxophone, I'm like, he's very Chow Yun Fatish.
Yes.
Like freaking stoic badass that likes playing jazz.
Yeah.
Basically.
The actor who plays Yuki Guy, whose name escapes me, and I feel horrible about that because I used to have it memorized. He actually appears in another show that we've watched. He's in Shogeki Go Raigon.
Yeah.
He's actually set up as like the bad guy in that for most of the series, and oddly enough, playing fairly close to the same character.
Okay. Man, it's been a minute since we watched Shogeki Go Raigon.
We never watched that for the show. That predates Denzicaster, but we're going to break that one out of mothballs at some point, I'm sure, because it's a fun show. I will get this out of the way because it's something that I frankly hate about this show. It's the only thing I hate about this show. So what do y'all think of the music?
I kind of didn't pay attention to it half the time. I'm not gonna lie about that.
The theme, to me, it sounded like it was a gum commercial.
Yeah.
It sounded more like a jingle than a theme.
Yes.
The ending theme, from what we heard of it, was not bad.
I didn't mind the music that played like during the show, like
Right.
the fight scene music.
Yeah.
I mean, it was thematically it was appropriate. Really, that was the main thing. Was just that opening theme. I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
It is my least favorite Super Sentai opening. But the incidental music is fine, except when they hit the Jetman theme. But the rest of it is cool. So 2 episodes into Jetman, we do not have a full team. We've only seen 1 Zord.
Yes.
Yep.
You see the rest of them, but you only see one in use.
Only one being used. So we don't have a Megazord yet.
The way they thought about, other than thankfully when they put the suits on, they instinctively know how to fly. Because out of the suits, they for the most, this is the first time any of them have flown a plane, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you also have the fact that they actively show that blue, yellow, and white have no clue how to fight.
Yep.
And these are all things that we take for granted in this style of shows. They put on the suit and they know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this show, they just flat don't.
Yep.
2 folks that are highly involved in Jetman behind the scenes. One is Toshika Inoue, who is best known probably for Kamen Rider Agito and several other Kamen Rider shows. He is the guy who invented the trope of someone gets thrown in a river. And he is known for, frankly, what's a nice way to put this? He's known for writing the same Kamen Rider show about 4 years running. There's a great quote from Joe Bob Briggs on Monster Vision when he was talking about Friday the 13th. These guys have made the same movie 9 times, and that takes talent. He wrote the same show 4 times. But he also, the other guy involved in Jetman is Keita Amamiya, who did Garo. He was involved very much in the making of this show. So it is widely considered one of the greatest Super Sentai shows of all time, and rightfully so. Anything that you guys are looking forward to in this show, and I'll just read off real quick because we have a tradition of doing this on some of our shows. We're going to do it here because we have it. The next 2 episodes are episode 3, The Power of 5, and then episode 4 is called The Fighting Bride. So
One thing,
Interesting.
I just want to see the other. I want to see the other Vyram commanders do stuff.
Oh, and they do.
Because I like, I mean, the one that looks like the kid with the headphones and like the big sunglasses. That one, I was like, oh, that one's got to be cool.
I'm looking forward to actually seeing the actual Zord itself. Once they actually, they're all get introduced, and you actually get to see the big mega.
It's called Jet Icarus in this series, and the cockpit will look amazingly familiar.
Oh, did they reuse a cockpit from a previous show?
To be more accurate, Zoo Ranger / Mighty Morphin reused the cockpit from this show.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Just saying.
We got perfectly good set right over here.
Exactly. Any closing thoughts on this one before we wrap this up? For what y'all seen of this?
Love it so far. I mean,
Definitely fun.
They haven't hit their Biomotion Buster moment yet.
Okay.
which I'm sure they're going to have.
I mean, they've got one. It's on the back of the box. I mean, they've got their big team up cannon, but because all of them do, folks. But well,
Giant fuck off cannon that does absolutely nothing. Okay.
But I don't think there's another monster that just randomly shows up that they have like a good 10 or 15 seconds to shoot him before he does what he's there to do. So, anyway.
That's right. I counted the recharge cycle.
I'm just saying, Deca Ranger's cannon is actually, when it's not a cannon, it's a legit robot dog that tracks stuff, so slightly better than a Biomotion Buster.
By the way, if you're wondering what we're talking about, check out any of our episodes where we're talking about Live Man, which we will have some more of that coming up. So, folks, until next time, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our look at the first couple episodes of Jetman. There's going to be more to come because these two here might mutiny if we don't.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to help us out here at Geek Carolina, you can do that by following the links down below. Find us on social media. Check out our stores at Cafe Press and Redbubble.com, respectively. And definitely check out these two guys on their shows on Chopsaki Cinema. And we have a new show coming up in 2019 that both of these gents are going to be a part of. So we're not going to spoil too much about that. You just have to keep an eye on our channel. You'll see it when it happens. So, folks, until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Josh.
I'm William.
And we'll see you next time on Denzicaster.